And we're going to look and see down on earth the destruction of Babylon the Great and all of the different countries we've been scattered abroad in. And we're going to be in a very thankful spirit, as explained, as the brother just read. Okay, now we don't know how the chariot is going to look, but we just know we're going to be looking down. We may be standing on a glass, a see-through sort of form of glass, and we're going to see the destruction played out on earth. All right?
Yeah, you're going. You know, when you see the brothers in the other camps when they see the chariots, man, and how joyful they are just seeing the chariots. Imagine how it's going to be like on the chariot.
Yes.
Seeing it all being played out, the destruction of this wicked place. Yeah. Seeing the destruction of Babylon, all these devils out here. It's going to be, the Lord willing, we're all a part of that. It's going to be great.
Can I say something in the spirit, right? It just occurred to me a second ago. Correct me though, right? It's funny how the Most High is just amazing. Because Esau come from the cleft of the mountains, isn't it? And he's going to put them down. Right. But that same cleft, they was in the cleft of the mountains, he's going to put them on the ground bunkers. So that same, they were in there in the Caucasus Mountains, yeah? And they're going to put them down same way.
Mount Seir.
On the ground.
Exactly.
So therefore that signifies he's going to put them down.
Exactly.
Do you know what I mean?
And so that's heavy you say that, because them being on the ground bunkers solidifies their new estate.
Woo!
Which is hell.
That's deep. That's heavy, brother.
Yeah. It's their base men, right? It says in the book of Job, the 30th chapter, that they're a base men. So the Lord is going to put them where they fucking belong.
Where they belong, brother.
Next level of understanding that.
Go on, bro.
Good one in Proverbs. Proverbs 18:10, it says, "The name of the Lord is a strong tower. The righteous runneth into it and is safe."
So even the name of the Lord is the bunker. See? The name of the Lord is the bunker. This wisdom, this understanding is the spiritual bunker, and we're gonna meet the Lord in the air into the physical bunkers, which is the chariot.
Beautiful.
So while the elites, they have their underground bunkers, we have our heavenly bunkers.
Wow. Yeah.
That's what makes us better than the elite. That's what makes us better than them. And you know what, too, that's heavy, because like I said, they're going to be brought down to hell, and we're going to be brought down to a heavenly estate. Us going up into the chariot symbolizes our next estate, which is being in heaven.
Upward spiral.
Yep.
You're
going, brother. You wanted to say something, I think.
Nah, I'll leave it.
It'll come back to you.
I'll leave it. No, I know what I want to say, but I'll leave it. So.
Come on.
Go on, Go on.
All right. When you're speaking about how they brought down low, that's a precept in Isaiah 13 saying, "I will bring down the haughtiness of the terrible."
Right.
That's their haughtiness being brought down.
Right.
Them being in them bases.
Yep.
And that ain't the end of it. The angels are gonna grab them out of them bunkers. Because the scripture says, "The dead in Mashiach shall rise first."
Exactly.
Yeah.
So those dead, Abba Bivens, King Marshal, they're gonna be the first to come down and grab up the elites out of them underground bases.
Yep.
So the dead in Mashiach, they're gonna rise first.
Yep. Absolutely.
I've still got some more in that Isaiah 13 anyway. So,
I tell you what, you have him read Isaiah 13 and you break it down.
Well, you can continue from 13, I think. Isaiah 13 and 13.
Ooh. Isaiah 13 and 13. "Wherefore I will shake the heavens, and the earth shall remove out of her place." In the
It's like because the multitude of those missiles, man, the impact all over the earth. Because this is gonna be a worldwide thing. Man. Remember, you got Gog and Magog and everything, and Moab. They're all gonna go up against Babylon. So you're gonna have a multitude of these missiles hitting the earth, causing it to to rumble, to come out of its place.
In the wrath of the Lord of hosts, and in the day of his fierce anger. And it shall be as a chase roe, and as a sheep, but no man taketh up.
It's like, what's the roe? The roe's like a deer, isn't it? It's like a deer, right?
Yeah.
So the roe's like it's like the hunting. That's that day. It's not only the destruction's coming, and when the Lord raises up his men, the ones that have died in the truth and the ones that are still here, they're going to be running up and down this place,
Probably
to
today or
and
so.
fro like sparks, man. It says in that
Tomorrow.
book. So they're going to be chasing down the wicked, man, putting them to death, putting them in
Okay. Alright.
subjection.
Yeah.
And as a sheep that no man taketh up, they shall every man turn to his own people and flee, everyone to his own land.
Yeah.
That's it, man. So them nations are gonna, come to try to come together. It talks about
Oh, okay.
is it,
That's how I usually do. Okay. Well, there's only so much you can do because the internet can kind of be slow.
second issues.
No, that's all right. That's all right.
You know what I'm talking about?
I just gotta get my eyes up early in the morning.
What, you talking about Yahawashi when it comes out of the sea?
Yeah. That's
Alright, I've got that now. Second Ezra 13. Where do you want to start?
Yes, Lord.
Alright, Second Ezra 13. And it came to pass after 7 days, I dreamed a dream by night, and lo, there arose a wind from the sea, that it moved all the waves thereof. And I beheld, and lo, that man waxed strong with the thousands of heaven. And when he turned his countenance to look, all things trembled that were seen under him.
Yeah, man, that man is Yahawashi. So read that.
Moving too fast. Behold, and lo, that man waxed strong with the thousands of heaven.
Thousands of heavens, man. That's them chariots, man. And you know what? Every single day now. Yeah.
One more time, Baba.
And they're not even hiding themselves. It used to be a time where you'd be lucky if you could spot a chariot. Now you're seeing fleets, different colours, red, green, yellow, whatever, blue chariots out there, man. So the Lord is showing himself now, man. He's showing his strength through the chariots, man.
So like man, just say I think I made just myself alone 4 videos on chariots just this week. Yesterday I saw the same chariot twice. So
that's it, man. That is it. And that's the curse upon the earth. That's the curse upon the heathens.
Strong with the thousands of heaven, and when he turned his countenance to look, all things trembled that were seen under him.
Yeah, man, and that goes back to Revelation 1 and 7 as we spoke about.
Okay, cut. That's all right.
And whensoever the voice went out of his mouth, they all burned that heard his voice, like as of the earth faileth when it feeleth the fire.
Them chariots are coming with laser beams, man. You know what I mean? Laser beams. You see how the movies depict it. You saw that in the War of the Worlds, man. Brothers always bring that one up, man, because that's where they get their inspiration. These movie makers get their inspiration from the scriptures, man. Them chariots coming down, vaporizing people. Because you got to look at the movie itself, man. All those people you see running in the streets getting vaporized. None of them are righteous, man. That's what's going to happen in that day, man. That's what's going to happen. That's that curse, like I said.
All they burned that heard his voice, like as the earth faileth when it feeleth the fire. And after this I beheld, and lo, there was gathered together a multitude of men out of number from the 4 winds of heaven to subdue the man that came out of the sea.
Yeah, man. What's that? That's the armies, man. They're gonna try and fight against that. They're gonna try and fight against the powers of heaven, man. I mean, we've heard these presidents of Babylon talking about, the Space Force, and I think it was Ronald Reagan that said if there was an outside force that came to Earth, wouldn't we all come together as one? That's that mind trick they're trying to play with that one world order as well. That new world order and that one world government, everyone coming together to fight the outside force. Man. You can't do that, man. The Lord's going to make you do that, but you can't. It's not going to work.
Ready, I'm just going to grab you Revelation 17 and 13. These have one mind, and shall give their power and strength unto the beast. These shall make war with the Lamb, and the Lamb shall overcome them. For he is Lord of lords, Kings of kings, and they that are with him are called, and chosen, and faithful.
Man. And remember, the scriptures say what? The Lord is the Lord of hosts, man. He's the Lord of wars, man. He's the Lord of armies. He's the God of war, man. Yep. You know what I mean? What's the scripture says? the Lord is a man of war.
Yeah, yeah.
Yahawah is his name.
Back where we were, 2nd Ezra 13 and 6. 5. So like to subdue the man that came out of the sea, but I beheld, and lo, he had graved himself a great mountain.
It's that great mountain the elder was going into. That's that darkness that he's standing on. That's that chariot. And it's good that they bring out these movies because it gives us something to kind of interpret it for you. Because you see
Independence Day.
Independence Day. That's the one. You see how it breaks through the clouds, man. Comes through the atmosphere, and it's every eye could see it, as the scriptures say. So that mountain is talking about that giant chariot that the Lord's coming. And I think there was some NASA footage, right, of a massive chariot
That's larger than the earth.
that was larger than the earth. Man. Imagine that, larger than the earth. That's what's coming, and these devils know it. These elites know it. NASA. There's people above NASA in the government, man. Them elites, these Rothschilds, and that, they know what's coming.
So like, can I just say something? That's another thing. It always gets annoying when you watch this footage, and it always cuts off. Like they're trying to hide it. Like the time code will be like
Live stream.
10 minutes 16, and all of a sudden it's 11 minutes 30. So whatever it was is going to pass across the screen. They cut that footage. Another example of this is this week, brothers were putting up videos of this ice melting. And they saw what looked like giant fins coming through, so it was like Leviathan.
Yes.
It's beautiful.
Yeah, that's what you
and
said.
they cut that footage too, but you can clearly see something coming and melting the ice, and its fin was sticking out. So
that's that woe coming from the heavens, man, and from the sea.
Can I just say something? Is it possible that the Most High had him there in a frozen state until?
It's always been there. Waiting for the time when he's summoned to come forth. Just like, for example, the sea has a commandment. Everything has a commandment. So when the waves crash on the shore, it's keeping the commandments of Yahawah. But when he says come forth, that's when you get tsunamis and tidal waves and stuff like that. It's just the same with Leviathan. Leviathan's always been there. All it takes is for Yahawah to say come forth. Like release the Kraken. Clash of the Titans.
Clash of the Titans.
That's what the Kraken is.
Yeah.
And the depths of the sea, man. These devils try to go everywhere, but there's depths that they can't reach.
I wanted to continue where I was. 2nd Ezra 13 and we're on 7. But I would have seen the region or place whereout the hill was graven, and I could not.
Man. Like we was going into, man. It was that big, like that chariot that was seen in outer space, man. Bigger than the earth.
And after this I beheld, and lo, all they which were gathered together to subdue him were sore afraid, and yes, the fight.
That's it, man. So the Lord's going to put the spirit on them, even though they're afraid, because they would naturally be afraid. Like even the brother of Yahawah was saying, man, even for the elect, it's going to be a fearful day, man, because you're going to that realism. Because we can all stand here understanding the scriptures and believing on it, but till that day comes and we see it for ourselves, man. It's going to be almost surreal, like,
And after, and lo, as he saw the violence of the multitude that came, he neither lifted up his hand, nor held sword, nor any instrument of war, but only I saw that he sent out of his mouth, as it had been a blast of fire, and out of his lips a flaming breath, and out of his tongue cast about sparks and tempests. And they were all mixed together, the blast of fire, the flaming breath, the great tempest, and fell with violence upon the multitude.
So that's pure destruction, man. Pure utter destruction. Get some scriptures on the destruction.
I've got something for you, if you don't mind. Shall I bring it out?
Yeah, go.
Right, this is Isaiah 66 and verse 15. It says, "For behold, Yahawah will come with fire, and with his chariots like a whirlwind, to render his anger with fury, and his rebuke with flames of fire. For by fire and by his sword will Yahawah plead with all flesh, and the slain of Yahawah shall be many."
Yeah, man, because what? That when the Lord had to deal with this earth before, man, he did it with water, man. Because water had to cleanse the wickedness of this place, man. But but he said he wasn't going to do that again, and that's why he uses the symbol of the rainbow, man. What these wicked
Alphabet people.
Sesame Oh, yeah.
These Sesame Street people, these alphabet people, they try to take that on, but now the Lord's going to come with fire, man. Because that's another cleansing agent.
Yeah, the Lord is going to get rid of Sesame Street.
Yeah.
Read that. Continue on with us, please.
Shall I read it again?
Yeah.
This is the book of Isaiah, chapter 66 and verse 15. And it says, "For behold, Yahawah will come with fire, and with his chariots like a whirlwind, to render his anger with fury and his rebuke with flames of fire. For by fire and by his sword will Yahawah plead with all flesh, and the slain of Yahawah shall be many."
That pleading is not begging, man. That doesn't mean that, man. They're coming to judge, man. That means when you plead your case, man. When you're being judged, man. That's what that means. There's more though, isn't it?
Just check, Slacky.
And when you go into that word judge, is shapat.
Oh yeah.
So, continuing on in verse 17, it says, "They that sanctify themselves and purify themselves in the gardens, behind one tree in the midst, eating swine's flesh, and the abomination and the mouse, shall be consumed together by Yahawah."
Yeah, man. So what's that? That's a lesson for the Christians out there that claim that they can be eating swine and they can pray over the swine, man. You can't do that, man. The Lord's made that unclean. So with that Christian doctrine of like eating whatever you like. Oh, do you remember when we used to teach in Brixton and that Pastor Pork Chop used to come
Yeah, I remember.
talking about how you can eat the pork, and he was mocking it, man.
Yeah,
the Lord's going to destroy him, man, because he was mocking it, talking about how once he's finished talking to us, he's going to go home and eat a nice roast pork dinner. That's what he was saying, man.
So lucky, man. May I add something? A lot of these Christians who claim that you can eat swine's flesh, the scripture's against that because it says, "What the Most High have made unclean, who can make clean?"
That's right, man.
And who can make a crooked thing straight? Rough and paraphrasing. There's another one as well.
I mean, Salaki, that's talking about Esau as well.
Yeah.
But that's true, man, because the Lord has
Go ahead.
but He's made those foods unclean for a purpose. They have their duty, so to speak, man. They have their job to do on this earth, man. They clean things up, like the oysters and the lobsters and all them things. They're cleaning.
Yeah.
They're there to clean, man. So you're not supposed to eat them.
Scavengers of the earth.
You can't pray over that and make it clean, because the Lord has already told you that it's unclean. He's made it that way. So
No, it's lucky. There's also the account in Maccabees, I think it's the elder called Eliezer, when they're trying to force him to eat swine's flesh. And he was talking about how it's better to go to the grave than to transgress for a moment just to live a little longer. So if we can eat swine's flesh, why did the Lord put him through that? There'd be no purpose.
And the 7 brothers as well, they got put, and the mother as well, they got put through that as well, man.
It's lucky. And another thing is, why was it so important for Esau to force us to do that? Because he knew that was a big part in drawing us away from our power. Furthermore, they sacrificed swine's flesh on the altar of the temple, and the whole thing was defiled. So how can the swine be clean now? These Christians don't go into things like that.
And that's why Esau puts the swine in all types of things.
Yes.
Whether it be your soap, your food, sneakily he's putting it in your food, your sweets and everything.
Yeah.
Because these devils know that it's defiling us.
Right.
It's like, I say one other thing as well. Another reason why the Christians are going off is whenever you see it's Christmas and you walk into any of these shops like Marks and Spencer, what are they selling? Turkey and ham, turkey and bacon, pigs in blankets, and this is supposed to be so-called Christmas.
Christian
but
time.
Everything's got abominations in it. So how can this be the truth when it's contrary to what the Bible teaches?
But that's ironic because Christmas is going to be cancelled this year.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, yes, it's going to be retail apocalypse for Christmas, isn't it?
Yeah.
Also, Salaki, I read that New Year's is cancelled too,
Yeah, I
like
did
the
check that
fireworks.
out, man.
Yeah.
Now this is great because it's like I'm going in a bit, but
That's beautiful. Kana halal, Yahawah,
Yahawashi,
Yahawashi.
with the whole New Year's thing, that's the whole Bacchus spirit because these people go out at midnight in the darkness and they're like, get drunk and revel and do everything you want, like kiss everybody on New Year's. People commit adultery on New Year's, but that's been, for London at least, that's been X'd out this year, so people aren't going to be able to get into that mirth and Bacchus spirit, and that's just another sign of this kingdom being brought down, and it's beautiful to see.
Brother, can I just say something too? Because what's funny was you bringing it up is the fact that the beginning of this year didn't even end the right way. Like the New Year's light didn't come on at the right time.
Oh, I didn't even notice. I don't watch that.
Yeah, I was watching the New Year's, and the fireworks didn't come about, and it was off, man. It was like what 4 or 5 minutes. Yeah.
Even Oxford Street, the lights. There's no lights this year for Oxford Street.
Beautiful.
Yeah. No lights. Yeah.
There's no lights at all.
Yeah. And the fireworks didn't even come up until like what 1:05. I think it was 12:05 or something like that. 5 minutes after.
Close out with that.
One more scripture.
So this place is done, man. And you can feel it in the air. I mean, if you're sensitive to your surroundings in the spirit, you know that this place is done.
Yeah, the soul of this place is out. The soul is no more soul. Gone.
Suck it out.
Yeah.
Okay, it's Ecclesiastes 12. Remember now the Creator in the days of thy youth, while the evil days come not, nor the years draw nigh, when thou shalt say, I have no pleasure in them. While the sun, or the light, or the moon, or the stars be not darkened, nor the clouds return after the rain. In a day when the keepers of the house shall tremble, and the strong men shall bow themselves. And the
So like that's that day, man. That's the day of the Lord, man. You know, that's when everything. We're in that day, because remember, what was it? 1,000 days is one day to the Lord, man. So we're in that day already, man.
And the grinders shall cease. The grinders cease.
Yeah, let me just get into that quickly. So the grinding that ceased, man. What happened? We had that lockdown for the COVID-19, right? Yeah. So the grinding ceased then, and it's kind of come back a little bit. But that was a little test, man. So the grinding will completely cease.
Yeah, brother.
And that was a taste.
Yeah.
A little taste.
It's coming to people. No one's going to work. No one's going to be going to work earning any money. You know, it's over.
Well, the grinders cease because they are few, and those that look out the windows
Malak.
You know the guy that come and they want to visit us.
and the door shall be shut in the streets.
Malak.
When the sound of grinding is low, and he shall rise up at the voice of the birds, and the daughters of music shall be brought low.
Yeah, man, all that mirth and merriment, man. Like the brother was just going into, man. Christmas is cancelled, man. Christmas is cancelled, New Year's is cancelled.
No, that's the spirit. I was going to tell you earlier.
Next year,
That's
and
why
you're
I
going to
was
see
going to come
people,
back to that.
you know, forced vaccinations.
I did it
What's going
with
to come next to microchip, man. The martial laws, all this stuff is coming, man.
So like, I might add something. If Christmas is cancelled, all these shops have been suffering because of the lockdown anyway. A lot of businesses make their most profit during the Christmas time. So if Christmas is cancelled and nobody's buying stuff, that's just another nail in the coffin for a lot of these businesses. So you're going to see a lot more store closures and things like that if this is the case.
To add to that as well, the purpose of that is so you've got the smaller businesses closing down, and now you've got the corporations. They're still going to make money because these people, these people are still going to try that mirth up until the moment. So they're still going to be buying stuff from Amazon and places like that for Christmas and stuff. So they're still going to be trying to get their little Christmas in, their little New Year's in and all that. But the smaller stores now are finished. And it's just so they can, and they're trying to formulate this one more order, remember?
Yeah, so they can consolidate the power.
Yeah, the big corporations, man. What they really want is, you know, they're the ones controlling everything, your food, you drink everything, your water, everything, your clothing, and then, you know, eventually, if they have their plan, you'll be working for them. We'll all be working for the big conglomerates, so to speak, you know what I'm saying?
That's right.
That's it on that.
That's it then. Hold up.
Yeah, giving all praises and glory to the Most High, Yahawah,
Hasham,
Hasham, Shalom.
Shalom.